Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. I'm Sander Seegers. Lots to talk about today. Jesse Lingard will start off with. Now the transfer window may be closed in some places, but it still is open in Portugal until the 26th of October. And the reports are this morning from Rob Dawson at the ESPN that Jesse Lingard is rumoured to be moving to Porto this summer, if you can still call it summer, of course. Listen, I think that's certainly a deal that I'd like to see happen. It would only be on loan, and of course they are only reports at the moment. Again, Rob Dawson coming out with those reports from the ESPN. Nothing confirmed, nothing concrete, but certainly reports and rumours, and certainly a deal that I would like to see happen this autumn. You can move until the 26th of October, so it must be winter at that point, wouldn't it? But listen, Jesse Lingard to Porto on loan would be certainly a deal that I'd like to see happen. He's got 2 years left on his contract, 1 year, and then a further option to extend one. And so, listen, again, as I said, that's a deal I'd like to see happen for a number of reasons. You send him out on loan, you give him a little bit of game time, and then you sell him at the end of next year. You don't want to let him run his contract down, of course, because at that point he walks for free. How much you actually get for Jesse Lingard, even if he's got time left on his contract, I don't actually know. I don't think you could sell him with 3 to 4 years left on his contract because he's got such monumental wages that no one would really look to go in and buy him. But with a year left on his contract, I think you sell him. I think you sell him for cheap. I think you sell him nonetheless. And listen, would it be a miss for Manchester United? I don't think so. Of course, the transfer window is shut in England, and so this isn't a transfer-centric show like it might used to have been. But I certainly think that, listen, there's still transfers to talk about. As I said, Championship, we could sign players from the Championship until a week on Friday, the 26th of October. People can go to Portugal, so there's certainly, certainly interest in that sort of department. But I think it's something should happen. What do you guys think in regards to Jesse Lingard to Porto? It would be on loan. I know we've done a lot of loans, and I know loans can be frustrating at times because we want to sell players. It's no good getting rid of our deadwood on loan because it's only going to come back next year. But I think with Jesse Lingard, it simply is a shop window situation because it will just be, listen, get him out there, get him playing. And I think at the end of the day, Jesse Lingard is actually quite a good player. Do you know what I mean? I think he's quite a good player who's everything's just gone wrong for him at Manchester United. And you look at him in 2018 for Manchester United. Remember that window, that Christmas period, where he was just absolutely on fire. There's a player in there, but how good a player he really is, or whether it can work at Manchester United, I don't think that can happen. But I think it can work elsewhere. Maybe step down, as you say, as I said, in Portugal, or maybe lower in the Premier League. I think it works for him. It's just that Manchester United at the moment, I just think has sort of gone all wrong for him. But I want to know what you guys think in regards to Jesse Lingard. And listen, I'll throw it to you guys. Does he leave a position, does he leave a gap in the team? Does he leave a gap in the system? Is he in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans? My opinion on those situation is no. I don't think he leaves a gap in the team because I think James is probably better than Jesse Lingard, and James isn't a very good player at all. I don't rate James. We're getting in wingers, clearly. Whether you say winger is his preferred position or not, I don't know. Sometimes he does like to play slightly more centrally, but I would say he's a winger, and we can't seem to stop bringing in wingers. So no, I don't think that that he leaves a gap in the team. I think this sounds so harsh, but I think he's fairly useless at Manchester United at this point. Even when you were to play him maybe against the Luton like we did, or against the Brighton in the Carabao Cup, for example. I'd like to see someone else be played there. I'd like to see a younger player played there because, Jesse Lingard now, 28. Getting on to 28 in his prime of his career, and he's never seemed worse. So no, I wouldn't like to see him stay at Manchester United, but I'll throw it over to you guys. What do you guys think? A lot of people talking about the shirt, of course. Happens. But yeah, I'll throw it over to you. What do you guys think? United 4 says Tellez is a beast. He will bring so much to the game, and Bruno in the defence. We'll get on to Tellez potentially later. And we have got squad numbers out. Obviously, we'll talk about Cavani 7, and stay tuned to know what Tellez's number is, because that literally came out just a second ago. Pelestri a first teamer. Well, this is the thing as well. I mean, we can just jam it up because we can do what we want. You've got Jesse Lingard, who's clearly a winger. You've just brought in Amad Diallo or Amad Traore and Facundo Pelestri. right? And then we've got reports that, we'll talk about it later, there's reports that we want to go in for Sancho next summer as well. Dembele apparently in the January. I don't know what's going on, but we've got wingers galore at Manchester United at the moment, a lot on the right-hand side, it seems. So, I don't think Jesse Lingard would be missed at Manchester United whatsoever. Abraham Lincoln says, I'm sure it's the real one, with a $5 contribution. Thank you for your super chat, pal. He says, Sander got a shirt like a retro WWE referee. Maybe we could sign an Undertaker for defense. There you go. And Josh Sutton says, my Auntie Sue... See, this is always Josh with this Sue woman, but my Auntie Sue loves you, Sander. Well, thank you. I love you too, Sue. Teles number 28. No, he's not number 28. Right, we'll move on then. We'll move on from Jesse Lingard because it doesn't seem to be catching a lot of your attention. I'll just to finish on that. As I said, I think it's good to get rid of him on loan or in any way possible, because if you get him out on loan, he gets playing time, you put him in the shop window, and you sell him next summer with a year left on his contract. I think that works for everyone involved. He gets playing time, United get their deal, and everyone goes home happy. So no, I don't think it's a situation where, we're all worried about Jesse Lingard going out on loan or on a permanent deal. I think we're all quite happy with it. But moving on to Edinson Cavani. Again, as I said, it's not necessarily a transfer-based show anymore. Of course, we're going to talk about transfers because, one, we're all a bit hungover from the transfer window, but two, things can still happen. We can still sign players from the Championship. Players can still go out to Portugal and other places as well. So we still want to talk about transfers. But on Edinson Cavani, someone we brought in this summer who seemed like quite a panic buy. He's taken the number 7 shirt at Manchester United. And that's what concerns me. I want to talk a little bit to you guys about what I think about that Cavani deal and what I think about him getting the number 7, because some people say there's nothing in him getting the number 7. Don't worry about it. It's just the shirt number. But at Manchester United, I have quite a romantic idea about the number 7 shirt. I like my shirt numbers in general, personally. That's just a thing. I like my kits, right? And I like my shirt numbers. But the number 7 at Man United, it's like the 14 at Arsenal, for example, And so I've got a romantic idea about it. So to give it to someone who has literally just come in, who clearly seems like a bit of a panic buy to an extent, who's only going to be here for a year or so, concerns me. Now, I know you could flip it on its head and say, well, we've given it to players who look like they're going to be here forever, or someone like Memphis Depay, for example, a young player, and it's not worked out for him. So let's give it to someone who's experienced, who can deal with the weight of that number 7 shirt, and who can kick on with it and not let the pressure really get to him. I understand that argument. But the issue I have with it is, I didn't mind the Edinson Cavani deal. On the basis that I think he's a good player. I think he improves our squad quite significantly, because I think in games, we're not even talking about rotation games here. We're talking about actual games. For example, against Chelsea or Spurs or a big team like that in the Champions League, right? If Martial's not doing it, I don't want to see him start Cavani, but if Martial's not doing it and we've shifted it about a little bit and nothing's working, you bring on Edinson Cavani with no doubt in your mind that he can come on and win the game. You don't do that with Odion Ighalo. With Odion Ighalo, you think, I've got to bring him on. All right, go on then. Do you know what I mean? But you're not thinking, this is a good move, this. When you see him lining up to get onto the pitch, you're not thinking, he's going to go out and win it here, do you? You don't think that. So you really don't. But with Cavani, I think you'll have someone on the bench who can come on and really make something happen. And so I like that deal. I like it in that sense. He's going to start for the next couple of games, next 3 games, because Martial's been sent off. Imagine that was Ighalo. I wouldn't be happy with it. Cavani, I'm okay with it. However, the reason I don't like it are for 2 reasons. One, I like the deal. I don't like the deal when it's a panic buy. And it clearly is a panic buy. It wasn't in the... I mean, you guys have heard the argument for so long. He was a free agent for, 6, 7, 8 months, however long it was. If you wanted him that bad and you think, no, this is the guy who's going to come off the bench, all the arguments I just made, you go and get him a couple of months ago. You go and do that deal early, and you make it happen. He can set in. He could have even played... I don't know if he could play the sort of latter stages of last season, but, he could have played the first 3 games this season. There's no reason for it not to. He wasn't signed to anyone. The only thing you've got to do is go out and put the money on the table for him, and he goes, he accepts it. You don't need to get him off anyone. There's no transfer fee to sort out. He was free. He could have helped us in the first 3 games, come off the bench, played against Brighton, played against Luton. You know what I mean? It's a panic buy. It's a straight up panic buy. That's why I don't like it. And the second reason I don't like it is because I think the Glazers and the board and the club giving him the number 7 shirt smells a little bit of spin. It smells of them trying to win you over with the Cavani deal. It smells of them, oh no, this is our guy. Look, we have done, forget about Jadon Sancho. We have done big business. Cavani, look, number 7, Cavani. No, he shouldn't be our star player. He should be sitting on the bench, come on and make an impact. He shouldn't be your number 7. And if our number 7's dropped down to the point where he's got to sit on the bench, I don't like it either. Because as I said, I've got a romantic idea of the number 7 shirt. I like the idea that the number 7 shirt is going to sort of go out there and set the world alight in a Manchester United shirt. He shouldn't be sitting on the bench. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's that's why it stresses me out. But I'll get to your comments on that. Miha says Sander had COVID and one of the symptoms is the loss of taste. Give him a break, guys. Just kidding. Love the show. Yeah, there you go. He's talking about the shirt. I think everyone's going mad about it, but there you go. I quite like it, mate. I did have COVID and I still pretty much do. NATO99 says, do you not think it's a weak squad compared to our rivals? We have a poor defence and it remains to be seen whether we have a decent right-wing option. Well, on the right-wing option then, I mean, we can talk about Sancho. I mean, people are talking about, and I don't know, we want to stop talking about Sancho because I'm sick of that name now. Whether it happens or not in the future, I don't care. I'm sick of the name Sancho. Jadon Sancho is boring me to death. But what I will say is, there's been reports that United are still interested in him, going into next summer. Nothing in January, I don't think, but going into next summer, they're interested in him. But apparently Bayern Munich, Liverpool are all going to be in for him. Apparently they're, at the front of the race now, leading the race in regards to Jadon Sancho next summer. And I believe them. I absolutely believe them. Probably not Bayern Munich, although it does make sense, Dortmund to Bayern Munich. But I think, 1, Bayern Munich got plenty of wingers, and 2, I think Jadon Sancho showed quite a lot of aspiration to move about. We saw it when he went from Manchester City to Borussia Dortmund. He clearly is not scared to move country and go and make it happen. And I think his mindset is on coming back and making it happen in the Premier League, right? So if you look at that, all the top clubs in Europe are going to be in for him. Forget even the Premier League at that point. You can look at La Liga, Barcelona, Real Madrid. They're going to be in for him. Borussia Dortmund. Paris Saint-Germain might not be in for him unless they get rid of Mbappe or Neymar, but there you go. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool, Chelsea, they're all going to be in for him. We've got a tough job at Manchester United now if we're going to want to go and sign Jadon Sancho. And I think, there was reports as well that Jadon Sancho was slightly irritated and annoyed at the way Manchester United carried themselves in the transfer window and that they didn't get the deal through. And which I can absolutely understand. For 2-3 months, he had his mind, probably longer if you're Jadon Sancho, because you know about that deal a lot earlier than we do as fans. He had his mind set on Manchester United, but what did they do? They agreed the deal. Yeah, Jadon. It'll be fantastic. You can come over here and buy into our project. You've got to pay 109 million, though. Yeah. Don't worry about that, Jadon. All right. Dortmund, what are you saying? How much do you want? 109 million? Whoa, 109 million? All right, calm down there, lads. No, all right, we'll pay it. And then just leave it. And then just don't pay it. They negotiate themselves out a deal. And so it's frustrating. And I think, I think we're going to be in a tough position if we want to go and get Jadon Sancho next summer. I certainly do. Claudius says, oh, hi, Mark. Lost some weight? Yeah, only a little bit. Kevin Jacobs says, United don't need Sancho. You not need a Koulibaly and a party. Misplaced priorities. United have no spine. I'd certainly agree with that. Again, I don't want to talk about transfers too much, but there's a lot to talk about in relation to transfers still. Even though we might be a little bit fed up with it, there's still things to talk about. Do you know what? I quite like that we've got a little bit of clarity. I can deal with it now. The fact that we didn't get Sancho, we didn't get a centre-back, we didn't get a central defensive midfielder, I can deal with it. It hurts. I'm annoyed. I'm irritated. I'm angry at the club, but I can deal with it because there's closure. Even with the Jadon Sancho thing, it doesn't seem there's closure. People are still reporting on it. I'm still reporting on it. So I guess that will drag on a little bit longer. But just the fact that we know we haven't got him, I can deal with, despite being irritated about. I'm not going to read your name. Massaniosi says Sancho should be irritated with Dortmund, not Manchester United. Fair enough. I think Man United cut that deal up. I think Dortmund always were in the same position, the same stance on Jadon Sancho, £109 million or bust. And United went, yeah, at the beginning, and then went, can we do 80 million, though? And they went, well, no, obviously not. It's 109 million. And they went, all right, how about 85? Do you know what I mean? And they just went, no, piss off. It's simple as that. Dana is still talking about Lingard, but I like the comment. He says, oh, I don't know if I like the comment. I haven't read it, but there you go. He says, Lingard's got a toddler in Blackpool that he co-parents. I doubt he'd want to leave her behind unless he can convince the mum to move up with him. Also shares guardianship of younger siblings. Yeah, I've seen that. We don't know what happened with Jesse Lingard behind the scenes. I don't quite know what's happened there, but We know something's happened that isn't necessarily the nicest thing, but you have to think about your own career to an extent, don't you? And you have to be selfish to an extent. So I don't know what his personal situation's like. Dazzo W says, with the contribution, he says, shows how much the board know about the club, and number 7, giving it to an old signing, only here for maybe a year, exactly. Number 7 was perfect for Sancho, young and exciting. Yeah, I mean, listen, hopefully, Jadon Sancho comes in next summer and we give him the number 7, and then Edison Cavani can drop down to, 37 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But it's just a worrying sign, because I think it's the Glazers and the board and the club trying to blind United fans, trying to think, oh no, but you have got a number 7, a shiny new little toy, and we're like, well, don't kid us, don't piss us off, Paul. Like, do you know what I mean? We're not dumb. United fans aren't dumb. We know what Cavani is. He's not a number 7. He's not your star sign, and you've panicked and given him the number 7 to try and make United fans feel a bit happy about the summer. Ridiculous. As I said, I think it's a good signing, if it wasn't a panic buy, which it clearly was, and also if it was to come on and sit on the bench and play that sort of role and come on and win a game. But he's not a good signing for sort of as your number 7, your star signing. Not at all. Josh Sutton says, Con Dembele. Don't quite know what you mean by Con Dembele, but Dembele, just touching him slightly. People were saying that, apparently we're going to go in for him for January. What do you guys think of that? January for Ousmane Dembele, I don't like that at all. I was glad when they said that the deal was off in the summer, or yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. And, I'm glad to wipe my hands with that deal. I don't think someone who wasn't convinced to join the club, and then we had to originally beg to even open conversation, I absolutely don't think that that's a player that we need to get in January. And again, I don't understand, because Diallo, that deal seems like the way they've been marketing it, even that Pellistri deal, the way they've been marketing it is almost like he's a proper adult, basically, and he's going to come in and play for Man United week in, week out sort of thing. I saw people like first teamers saying, "Oh, congrats on the move, welcome to Man United." Paul Pogba, I think, said that, and all those sorts of things. And the way they've been sort of marketing it with the images and all that sort of stuff makes me think that he's going to play quite regularly. So if he's going to play quite regularly, why would you bring in Dembele? And if you bring in Dembele, if you bring in Dembele, I don't know. If you bring in Dembele, then I might just quit. Just quit. Do you know what I mean? Marcus says, we can fail to get targets. This also happened under David Gill and to Alex Ferguson. But what irks me is how the board just don't seem to care about the club. I'd agree. If we were in for... I guess we were in for a striker slightly early on, but Cavani was always there. Why did you have to do it on deadline day? Do you know what I mean? And Kinky Jujubee says, before we say Pochettino, at what point do we question the weak mentality of the players? Leaderless and directionless, we need a statement signing. I agree. I mean, there's a lot to talk this morning about and last night about Pochettino, and that United have potentially contacted him. You guys know I'm Ole in. My stance hasn't changed on that, but it's worrying times if you're an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sort of inner, which I think we should probably all be, but because we should all support the manager regardless. But it's a worrying time. It's worrying times for Manchester United fans, and we just want to see. I want to see a big reaction after the international break. Because I think if you look at the fixtures that we've got after the international break, you look at what Chelsea, Leipzig, PSG, Arsenal, I think, are in there. Newcastle, we've got. These are going to be all difficult games. With Martial suspended, I know he can play in the Champions League, but he's suspended in the domestic games. It's going to be a tough couple of weeks, and we really need to see a big reaction. Because if we don't, we're going to really fall behind the pack, and that's going to be worrying. Ford says, United bought Alex Telles, good crosser, and Edison Cavani, good header. Yeah, I see what you mean, and I like that. Me and my mate were talking about it yesterday in the flat. I like the idea that I think Telles has already created 6 chances this season, and Shaw's created 1. And if you look at his chances created season after season, he's passed Luke Shaw by miles, loads and loads of chances created compared to Luke Shaw. Now you could say, but we've got no one in the box, we've got no goal poacher. We do now in Edison Cavani, so that is a sort of dynamic that could absolutely work. To have a left back that gets into the box and doesn't absolutely brick it and can actually put a decent ball in might be refreshing to see for once. And I think that, with Edison Cavani in the middle might work quite well. But again, as I said, panic in regards to Edison Cavani, and I struggle to get over it, to be fair. let's read some of your comments. I want to be interacting with you guys. I want to be interacting with you guys. Denton says, I still believe United can turn this around. Back the team. And Ollie, guys, come on. We all want to see the same thing, and that's successful and a happy Manchester United. I agree. I think that's the thing, isn't it? I always catch myself between two minds, like, how much should I criticise and how much should I back? I always think, backing the club and backing the team and backing the manager is the best thing for them, and I think gives them the biggest sort of opportunity at success. But I also sometimes then think, well, at what point do you pull the plug and think, Christ on a bike, you're not good enough? At what point do we, for example, Harry Maguire, at what point do we stop backing the guy and say, well, you're just not good enough? Do you know what I mean? It's just difficult. It's like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place at times. The FIFA fighter says, when you've got the United stand at 10 but have to special guest WWE at 12, people are going on about this shirt, man. And Biswas says, Tellez had more assists last season than Shaw's had in 6 years. Yeah, I don't know, I can't fact check that, but I certainly know that Alex Tellez creates a lot more chances than Luke Shaw. I can tell you just quickly on Alex Tellez that he has got the number 27 shirt at Manchester United. Came out about 24 minutes ago at 10 o'clock when at 10 o'clock they released that he's got the number 27 shirt. Obviously, Cavani's got the number 7 shirt, and that's the big news. But 27, for any of you that like your kits, Alex Tellez got the number 7 shirt. Insignificant, I think. It's an insignificant announcement. I think, Luke Shaw's 23. There's no sort of indication there that he's going to overtake Luke Shaw in the team straight away. Whether he does or not, we'll have to wait and see it. But the shirt number clearly doesn't give anything away. But I thought if some of you are interested, I thought I'd announce it nonetheless. CC says 80 million, not good enough. That's in relation to Harry Maguire. I'd agree. We'll wait and see on Harry Maguire. I think it's an interesting one. I think, post-lockdown, he didn't play well at all. You look at the Tottenham goal, Bergwijn against us, that was Harry Maguire's fault to an extent, and De Gea, of course. You also then look at the Southampton goal, where he's sort of marking his own man for the header. And then you obviously look at this season as well. He's just not played well. He's tackling Luke Shaw. He was absolutely tackling Luke Shaw, so we'll have to wait and see. And I think the fact that we haven't got a centre-back in, I don't think Solskjaer thinks, I'm loving my centre-back partnership at the moment. That's good enough to go on and win the league. I don't think he thinks that. But I do think that he knows that he's got a certain amount of funds that he's got to spread out and sort of delegate each year. And I think next year will probably be centre-back time. I really do think next year will be centre-back time. But then with the rumours of Sancho, who knows? If we've not got that much money, which clearly United never do, even though they just do, then we'll have to wait and see. PK Joe says, the United 7 has continually been tainted. It's disgusting. It's frustrating, isn't it? Because it's like one of the most nicest shirts there is. And United, number 7, you look at the likes of George Best, Cristiano Ronaldo, Michael Owen. No. Do you know what I mean? There's so many, David Beckham, so many fantastic players have played in that shirt. And so the fact that we've sort of Valencia, Alexis Sanchez, that's the worst one for me. That Alexis Sanchez is the worst one because it's such a mercenary. The fact that he first day at the club said, no, can I rip up the contract and go back to Arsenal? You should be absolutely thanking your lucky stars you're at United. Don't be wishing to go, rip up the contract to go back to Arsenal. It's disgusting. That's why I hate that deal. I can deal with, Michael Owen was a Liverpool player, I know, but I can deal with a Memphis Depay or someone like that because, he clearly loved the club, but he just didn't play very well. I can deal with that. I can deal with Antonio Valencia. I can't deal with Alexis Sanchez, and maybe Cavani will become a cult hero, I don't know, but I struggle to deal with Cavani as well. Moving on then, onto the Championship. I know it's not a transfer show this week, but, as I said, there are transfers to talk about. The Championship, the window is open until a week on Friday, so we have got, a week and a half until that window shuts. We can make deals from the Championship. You also look at the likes of Josh King, Ismail Assar. I don't know what your comments are going to be about Ismail Assar and David Brooks. You look at these players. Of course, two right wingers and a striker. What do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think in regards to getting people from the Championship. Personally, I don't think we need to just throw money at something and then have a player on a 5-year contract who clearly isn't as good as if you go and get Jadon Sancho in the summer. I think just cut your losses. Listen, we've been poor. It's been a poor transfer window. We move on until maybe not January, but the summer, and then we go and reinforce properly with some proper players in the summer, next summer. You don't go to the Championship this season, this summer, this autumn still, and go and sign an Ismail Assar, a David Brooks, a Josh King. What do you need Josh King for? I don't know why he's being linked to United still. You don't need Josh King whatsoever. We've got Edison Cavani and Anthony Martial. Mason Greenwood eventually wants to play up front, and we've got Rashford that can play up front as well if there's injuries we need to shift things about. So I don't know why Josh King's being even rumoured. It's frustrating. In regards to the Jadon Sancho thing as well, that's just popped into my head. If we bring in, we've got Pellistri, who's being announced like he's a first-teamer, Diallo, who's announced like he's a first-teamer, and then we'd have Jadon Sancho as well. That's 3 right wingers. Now, apparently, Pellistri can play across any side of any sort of wing. But what do you need 3 right wingers for? Do you know what I mean? That will probably be the end of Dan James if Pellistri moves over to the left wing. Sorry. If he moves over to the left wing, so then you see the end of Dan James. But worrying, maybe, and then you've got Mason Greenwood as well. Maybe they're thinking we'll move Mason Greenwood up front eventually after the 1 or 2 years that Cavani's been here. Then we'll move him up front. We'll have him and Martial up front. Then we'll have Jadon Sancho and Diallo on the right and Pellistri and Rashford on the left. That sounds quite nice, to be fair. But yeah, Josh King, don't like that whatsoever. Ismail Assar, don't like that whatsoever at all. And David Brooks, again, don't like that whatsoever. But I want to know what you guys think. And King Dripper says, I say buy Josh King. Why? I appreciate your opinion, and I want to know more about your opinion. Is there I want to put it to you, is there a case where you go, no, hang on, go out and buy Ismail Assar. It'll be a good signing for this reason. Do any of you think that? Do any of you think that Josh King would be a good signing for Manchester United? Do any of you think that David Brooks would be a good signing for Manchester United? I want to know what you guys think. King Dripper says Josh King is better than Martial. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's a bit dodgy, that. All here, Sasana has better crosses than Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I'm getting bantered today, guys. I'm getting absolutely bantered today. David Red says Martial should play wide. I think he's good off the left, but I like the evolution of Martial down through the middle. I think he hasn't started well this season, but we haven't started well this season. I mean, we have scored a couple goals, but he's not got on the score sheet yet. But I think time will tell on Martial, and I think he's certainly going to be a good striker. I don't think he comes in off the left, and I don't think Rashford is through the middle. I think Rashford's very suited off the left. He can sort of create plays in that sense from that side, and he's facing goal slightly more. I don't think Rashford's good with his back to goal, whereas I think Martial can spin and play off with his back to goal, even though that isn't his strength. I think he can do that better than Marcus Rashford. We need Barama. No. Cavani is a goal machine. Yeah, I'd agree. Sorry, I'm getting loads of notifications just in case any of them are breaking news, of course. Tony's better than Rashford, in my opinion. I don't think Anthony Martial is necessarily better than Marcus Rashford. I think they're just different players. I think Rashford relies on his physicality and his athleticism a little bit more, in his pace and his strength. Where, of course, he's fantastic on the ball as well at times. But I think Anthony Martial, as a technical player, is slightly superior, because I think you look at the ball. I like it when the ball sticks to a player's foot. Do you know what I mean? He sticks to a player's foot and really... he can just do whatever he wants with it, whereas sometimes I think Marcus Rashford can go a little bit, knock it and run and try and get past the player. But that's not a criticism of Marcus Rashford. I think he's still a fantastic player, of course. Zayed says, Josh King is overrated. I'd stick with Martial and Cavani. Yeah, listen, Martial and Cavani as a front two is a very good front two. I like it. I just don't like the way it's been done. Bob S says, Ole has to sit some of the players that are playing like crap. I think you mean bench. Maguire and Pogba should be benched for a while. No fear with the players having a lacklustre performance because they know Ole won't sit them. You mean, yeah, just bench him. I think Pogba will get benched very, very soon. I think he'll get benched very soon because you've got someone like Van der Beek knocking on the door. I think if Luke, this is what we want in competition for places. You bring in someone like a Diallo. I know he doesn't come in until January, and I know he's so young still. But if Mason Greenwood, you're not up to it, you're really not doing anything, which Mason Greenwood rarely does. He's fairly good. He's fairly a decent player. But you bring Diallo in, you bring Tellez in if Luke Shaw's not up to it. You bring Van der Beek in if he's not up to it. Do you know what I mean? You bring Fred in if Matic isn't up to it. The only issue I think we have is the centre-back position, because at centre-back, we don't have that competition for places, and we don't have the ability to rotate like we really should do. So that concerns me slightly. It certainly concerns me slightly. But King Dripper says, Josh King is a real Manchester United type player. I I don't know what you're on, King Dripper. Anyway, guys, I will wrap up for today. A little show today. Not many of you watching, unfortunately, which is slightly concerning. But yeah, thanks all for joining us. As I said, we'll wrap it up. Jadon Sancho next summer. That's what we've talked about. I think, well, it's going to be very difficult because there's going to be a competition for signing. You look at Cavani in the number 7 shirt. We touched on how that is a slightly worrying sign with the Glazers pulling the wool over Manchester United's eyes. Lingard to Porto is what we started off the show with. And of course, we talked about David Brooks and Josh King and how we don't want to see us sign any players from the Championship anytime soon. So thanks all for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show, and I shall see you guys probably on Saturday morning. Ta-da!